Hi guys, welcome to or welcome back to this channel. Today we're going to be looking at division, and if you want to see the rest of the videos in this series, it will be linked down below and up above. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy it, and let's get started. And as usual, here is our brain teaser of the day. Pause now if you want to have a go at it, and the answers will be posted at the end of the video. So the first question we want to ask ourselves is, what is division? So here's the official meaning of division. Division is simply splitting a certain amount equally between different groups or people. For example, let's say we have 8 ice creams and 4 children. By sharing the ice creams equally, how many ice creams should one child get? So one of the key words we can see is equally. Equally means that each child should get the same amount of ice creams, not one child getting 4 and another getting 2, so we need to make sure it's all equal. Now we have just circled the amount of ice creams that are there and how many people we need to share it between. So therefore we have the question 8 divided by 4. So the 8 represents the amount that we have to share, and the 4 is the amount of people / groups that we need to split the 8 into. And we should know that 8 divided by 4 is 2. And this is where times tables plays a massive key role in doing division, because if you know your times tables, you'll know 4 times 2 is what gives us 8. Therefore, 8 divided by 4 should give us 2. Now we need to know that there are 2 different types of division. First, we have short division. This type of division is used to divide a larger number by a 1-digit number. So as an example, let's take 1284 divided by 3. By highlighting the 3, this is what we mean by dividing by a 1-digit number, so it's obviously a smaller number. So when telling you to divide or use division, there are 2 different signs they may use. They may use a typical sign that I have used, which is 2 dots and a horizontal line, or they may use a /, which looks like this. So let's get started on the actual bus stop method. So the reason why it's called bus stop, because simply the 2 lines drawn actually may look like a bus stop. So we put the amount that we are sharing inside the bus stop and the number that we're dividing by outside the bus stop. So 1284 will be inside and number 3 will be outside the bus stop. Now when you get started, the first question you need to ask yourself is how many 3s go into 1? And of course we know 3 can't go into 1 by itself, so the answer is 0. Then we need to ask how many 3s go into 12, not just 2, because the 10 that we couldn't go into has joined the 2 to make 12. So this is why your timetables are definitely important, because if you know what your 3 timetables are, you know 12 divided by 3 gives you 4, and that's why you put the 4 on top. Then you move on to ask yourself how many 3s go into 8. And it is possible for 3 to go into 8, but we have what is called a remainder, because we know 3 times 2 gives us 6, and 3 times 3 gives us 9, but we can't go with 3 times 3 because 9 is bigger than 8. So 3 times 2 gives us 6. So you put the 2 above the 8, but we're left with 2 left, a remainder of 2. So we're going to put that 2 next to the 4. Then now you ask yourself, how many 3s go into 24? And again, if you know your timetables, 3 times 8 gives you 24. So you know that the number that you need to put on top of the 4 is 8. Now let's try a few more examples. Let's say we have 315 divided by 5. We want to draw our bus stop, write 315 inside the bus stop and 5 on the outside. So now you want to ask yourself, how many 5s are in 3? And of course we know 0, so we move on to the next number. Then we ask how many 5s are in 31, not just 1, but 31. And we know our timetables, so 5 times 6 gives us 30, so we put 6 on the top, and we have remainder 1. So now we ask ourselves, how many 5s are in 15? If you know your timetables, 5 times 3 is what gives us 15, so you put that on top of the 5. And now we know 315 divided by 5 gives us a total of 63. So let's have a go at a second example. So we're drawing our bus stop, and now we're going to write, let's say we have 554 divided by 7. And just a clue when we're starting to do this division, we have to know that sometimes some numbers don't divide in equally. And what I mean is that when we finish the division, there may be sometimes a remainder. So let's get started. We have to ask ourselves, how many 7s go into 5? And of course we know that 7 times, we can't put 7 into 5, so we need to put a 0 above the 5. Now we need to ask ourselves, how many 7s go into 55? And we know that 7 times 7 is 49. And then we try 8 times 7, which gives us 56. But 56 is bigger than 55, so we have to put a 7 on top of the 5, because 7 times 7 is 49. But of course that leaves a remainder of 6, so you put 6 next to the 4. Now you need to ask yourself, how many 7s go into 64? But we know that 7 doesn't go into 64 equally. 7 times 9 gives us 63, but we know we have a remainder of 1. And this is what clues back into knowing that not all numbers can go into bigger numbers equally. So our answer is 79 remainder 1. Now I'm going to put a few questions up on the screen. Take this time to either pause the video and try and write it down and have a go yourself, or you could just watch me do the answers. Good luck! So now we're going to look at the second type of division, which is called long division. And long division is basically just used to divide large numbers by 2 digits or more. So now let's take the question 352 divided by 11. So long division still uses the same principles as short division, but there's just a little more extra to it. We start by asking ourselves, does 11 go into 3? And we know that's a no, so we put a 0 on top of the 3. Now we ask, does 11 go into 35? And yes, it does, because 3 times 11 gives us 33. Now we put the 3 on top of the 5 as usual, but then because 3 times 11 gives us 33, we put that underneath the two numbers we've just divided into. Then we need to find the difference between 35 and 33, which is 2. So you put the 2 underneath the line. But then we have to carry the 2 from the next question down below. So now you have to ask yourself, does 11 go into 22? And yes, 11 goes into 22 because 11 times 2 gives us 22. We put the 2 on top of the 2 in the bus stop, and you find the difference of those two numbers again. But we found that the difference is 0, which means we have no remainder, and our answer being 32. Now we have the question 686 divided by 14. So to help with our timetables, because not everybody knows their 14 timetables mentally, sometimes it helps to start by working them out on the side. That's option 1. We'll come to option 2 later. So here you can see that I'm writing down all of the 14 timetables that I can go up to until we find a stop and that we can get started with our division. Now we start our division as normal, so we have to ask ourselves, can 14 go into 6? And of course we know that it can't, so we put a 0 above the 6. Now we have to ask ourselves, can 14 go into 68? So now looking at our list of timetables we've done, we can see that 14 times 4 gives us 56. So now we can put the 4 above the 68 to say that 14 times 4 goes into 56. Then we place 56 underneath the 68 and find the difference, and you'll find the difference is 12. Then we need to remember to bring down the next number, which is 6. So now you have to ask yourself, what times 14 will give you 126? And you'll realise that the timetables list we've created doesn't go up to the hundreds yet. So now this is when you can choose which step you can do. So you can either continue to create your timetables list and find out what number goes closest to 126, or you can do a cool maths trick that you can apply to any kind of sort of maths that you come across. So the number you're trying to get into is how many 14s go into 126. So look at the last digits, the ones digits. We have a 4 and we have a 6. Now you need to ask yourself, what number times 4 can give an ending digit in 6? Again, this will help if you know your times tables, because either 4 times 4 gives us 16, and that gives us a one digit of a 6, or 4 times 9 gives us 36, which gives us a last digit of 6. So we already know that 14 times 6 is 56, so it can't be 56. So let's have a go at 14 times 9 in a column multiplication. And what do you know? 14 times 9 is 126. So we can put the 9 above the 6 in the division and then put 126 underneath the 126. And you find the difference again and it's 0. So our answer is 49 with no remainders. Here are the final questions for this division video. Tune in afterwards just to find out the answers for the brain teaser, and if you want to pause the video now and have a go before you look at the answers, that's perfectly fine. So good luck! So the answer for the brain teaser is actually 31, and the reason why is because the whole point of the number machine was that when the number is being put into it, it's being times by 2 and then minus by 1. So 7 times 2 gives us 14, minus 1 gives us 13, and the same principle for the number 5. So that's what you had to apply to 16 to get the answer 31. So if you've tuned all the way to the very end, thank you so much for watching. Please like, share and comment down below what you'd like to see in the future. And thank